What up? What up? Zach Bradshaw, along with the guy, something like that. Um, Making this video right now to illustrate a point that I don't know whether I'm ever going to be able to capture it again in such an obvious or easy example. So, um, probably call this video decision time or something like that, or like that's what this concept is. And it's basically that Bitcoin's price, and I'm looking at the 2 hour chart right now. So every candle counts for 2 hours price. And uh, over this time period, the range has been going steadily going up. We've been on an uptrend, but it's like it's been petering out. And over time, the higher highs and higher lows have been shrinking, or the range between them has been shrinking. So if I go with the horizontal line between this high and then the lows that followed after it, right? We went up to here, we tested, came up, didn't make it. I mean, made it a little bit over halfway, but didn't make it up to the top, came back down, tested basically the same line, and then came up and shattered through the first one. After that, I might revert and start a new high and low, right? A new high after this low, a new high and low. Okay, so that did not work exactly how I wanted. So new high, new low, then after that it goes up again, new high and new low, what looks like in the same candle, continues down a bit, or maybe it came up here, folded down, went up to here, double tested. I'm not sure. I don't want to look into smaller time frame candles that would tell me, did it go up first or did it go down first from here? It doesn't really matter. This seemed like the upper limit, or what we call the resistance. And then down here, we came down to another support, which was higher than the one prior. So a higher high and then a higher low. So we're on an uptrend. Then it touches this one, double tap on the 2 hour, and then proceeds up and breaks through the upper band, which, maybe you'd set it here, or maybe you'd set it here if you liked the closes instead of the wicks, but whatever. So now we're at a higher high, comes down, which is kind of somewhat questionable, um, to a low here that makes you, just think. It comes up again to the same closes that were the prior wick highs, test above, comes down again, establishes a lower, or I'm sorry, a higher close high based on the closes of these candles, nothing but wicks below this line, right? We could say a lower close high. So this will be interesting to look at on higher time periods. But then we still have not an ascending triangle, but some sort of ascending wedge or something like that. Um, Oops, sorry about my lack of skills in the indicator department. But if we create like a trend line here based on bodies, we're not using wicks here, but we're using closes of candles. We can probably create something like a oops. rising wedge, which I guess they say it tends to break down this type of pattern. And you see as I zoom out, it actually kind of fits this area before. I mean, at a tighter range, but it still fits the same uh, like rate of change. Like this is still going up at the same slope. This is still somewhat matches the same slope and got close to touching this in the same way that's got close to touching this. Continues up. Now within this formation, the more full we get, the closer to, oops, did I not just turn that off? Whoa, sorry about that. The closer we get to the eventual intersection here, is when we have to make a decision. So, right now, as this thing proceeds, let me get this back at something that makes sense. As this proceeds, we have a short range here that will determine which way this goes. And it looks like this, oddly enough, is going to be the peak formation, or at least an important decision maker on what's going on right now. So it would seem odd for this to be how the top looks of this parabolic move that Bitcoin has been on. Uh, sorry. Right, if we look on the daily chart and we get rid of my stupid lines here, you see how high of a slope those have. If we look over, the past year or so, this is just like unprecedented. The slope of this is so high compared to the level of moves before. Even what we did at the end of 2017 leading to 2018, I mean, they look similar, but it's still steeper and looks earlier, to the point that if this goes on for another week or two, we're going to have a single $10,000 week. And so I'm making this video because this seems like too important right here. Most people would have these candles on like red and green, but for me, I mean, I'm not using the colors here, but they match the colors down here. And all of my open candles mean that they're basically an up week, and all of my filled in candles mean that they're a down week. And of like the last 15 or 20, there's not one, two, three, four. There's only four that finish down, and this is, to a degree, looks like it's changing the curve, but there's several curves here that you could draw out, and I'm not sure which one is the dominant true rate of change. And so this could break down now and if it breaks down from now, I would have a hard time believing that it even got down to 20 before it went back up again. Just based on the shape of the way that this looks. I think it would get picked up by this one or another curve. And just to show you what I mean, it's not there. Is it here? So you see there's some sort of curve going on. I don't quite have it right yet. But there's some sort of curve going on like this, as one example. But there's also different versions of it that you could draw, and it's hard to know which is truly the dominant which one is truly the dominant one. But hopefully you can kind of see the different type. Oh, ooh, there we go. Almost got it right. What I'm trying to show you. But you see, there's different curves in here that I'm not sure which one has the most money, essentially, is how this bot trading and technical analysis works. So I'm not sure which one is actually going to be the one that matters in terms of once it breaks and the price looks like this and the curve looks like that, it won't have very long before it falls back the other way, before it has to reestablish something else and go, and then they can dominate the market again. But at this point, there's a bunch of curves you could draw here, and some of them go out here before it matters whether it makes a decision. And so it come down to 26 or maybe even 24 before it goes all the way up on some crazy, 35 or 50 week or two jump. Um, but right now, momentum looks like it's somewhat petering out, but we have this really interesting rising wedge that I drew earlier that typically breaks down, but I mean, it's really not the best way to do it, but let's change this to a Wix setup. And you see it does fit even better like this. Kind of fits better zoomed out as well. Um, but, I mean, either one of these work, but their apex is coming soon, which will mean that it will need to make a decision, and it's, going to go a couple of $1,000s in one way or the other when it does. And that seems imminent, right? I'm looking at a 2 hour chart. Seems like it's gonna happen within the next 24 hours and maybe while I sleep overnight, which is why I'm up right now at 1:13 making a video about this and planning to release it because it looks like some money right here. Somebody, if you're trading, if you understand how this works, might be a smart buy right here that then you're trying to sell at 31.50 or 32 or 35, whatever you think it's going up to, maybe just 30,000 or 30,000, or you're considering a test. You're considering a test on this line so that you can buy for the breakout up top. Now, they say that rising wedges tend to break down, and so I'm not I don't quite know how to do a measure move or what the rules are on measure moves, but I'd probably say something like, oops. I'd probably say something like this. It'd come up here, and you guess if it broke out right now, it'd go up to 32.5, which is high for me. Like what I think it's going to go to if it goes right here. So maybe it breaks down and creates some other sort of pattern here. But this is just an odd top. So for me, I wouldn't expect that this is the final top of this run because there's a decision phase that needs to happen right now. And the likely decision looks like it doesn't make any sense. Maybe a test down here and then a quick pop back up. So just a wick comes down here, not a close, but mm, I mean, it could also, I mean, it's just on a crazy parabolic run. So it could go ahead and tap up close to 32, either front run it or break through it, and then sell off from there, which is why I'm part of why I'm up right now, making this video. Or it could break from here, fake out probably both ways, come down here and test and establish a range. Between wherever the high was and this low. Or maybe the range is a little bit wider and comes down to here. And I'll be buying at all phases as it does, but I may sell out of my current gains if it breaks this upward trend line. I have some alerts set here. You can see different price levels that I will get a text message if if it goes above $30,053, or if it goes below 29 $150, let's say. Either one of those directions, I will get an alert to my phone. I'll get like a pop in my notifications on this computer. Um, but I can easily change these alerts, which I'm probably going to do as soon as the video is over, because we've seen I started thinking about making this video in and about these candles here way earlier today while the sun was out. And I started making this video on this candle here. And now we're here. We could go up a little bit higher and break down again, or we'll see how it plays out. But the decision time is coming, and so I just want to make a video about it. Not sure how useful it will be, but I'll cut it, and yeah, peace.